Welcome to Stan the Wine Man TV. I am your host, Stan Rattan, and this is the Blue Collar Wine Show where I help you spend your wine dollars wisely. I'm excited about this because we have two wineries that have released a new varietal or a new line of wines, I guess is how you'd say it. The first one would be the Saviah Cellars, the Jack line. He's doing a Grenache. And San Juan Vineyards, now owned by Michael and Lori Corliss, doing a Syrah. Now I'll tell you, back in the day when San Juan Vineyards did a Syrah, it rocked. And that was back when Yvonne owned it. Love Yvonne to death. She died last year, and it was very sad. It happened suddenly, and she worked so hard on that vineyard, and she worked with very little resources, and she was able to get that thing going and really move it along. She had trouble with winemakers, as you know, a lot of wineries do, and she pulled out. She did a Syrah for a long time that was, did really well, and then she quit doing it because Syrah took a little bit of a slump, and we'll talk about that more in a minute. But let's get started right off the bat with the Jack Grenache. This is $15. It's 2016, the Jack Grenache, Columbia Valley appellation, $15. Now, a little bit about this, hopefully you can see that. Woo, there we go. Saviah Cellars, owned by Rich Funk, is makes some really high-end wines, and they're really good. Rich does a nice job with his winery. He's right next to Saviah Cellars, right next door. And Rich came out with this line called the Jack. Like all wineries need a cash crop. They need something that will help bring in the money while they're trying to sell their high-end wine. So he came out with the Jack line, and the whole idea, as he said about the Jack line, is to provide ready-to-drink wines that people will enjoy, more fruit-forward, etc., etc. And so he came out with the Jack line. Now, just recently he came out with a Grenache. Now, Grenache is a very interesting grape. It's one of the grapes I feel does really well in Washington State. Of course, they do use a ton of Grenache in the southern Rhone Valley. They blend it in their Côte de Rhone and their Châteauneuf du Pape. Grenache tends to be a little bit spicy sometimes, not always, but it can be spicy. It also is grown quite a bit in Spain, where they call it Garnacha. So a lot of people, I know a lot of my customers are very unfamiliar with this grape. They say, what is a Grenache? I would liken it to a Pinot Noir on steroids. A little bit more than a Pinot Noir, but it is lighter in body, lower in tannins, so you can use it for a lot of different foods. I recommend it a lot with lamb, because the old axiom, if it grows together, it goes together, like Pinot Noir and salmon, Oregon, the ocean with the salmon, and they raise a lot of sheep in Spain, and so they make Garnacha there, and so if it grows together, it goes together. A lot of times winemakers will make wines that focus on the cuisine of the area. So that's just something to remember. If it grows together, it goes together in most cases. Let's see what we get on the nose. So the color is a little bit darker. I can still see through it. I got some light coming through on this one. Let's see what we get on the nose. I get like a little bit of a licorice component coming through. I get ripe strawberries and plums. But that licorice is really prominent on the nose. Let's see what we get on the palate. Again, light in tannins, but this is spicy. Good job, Rich. Nice spicy white pepper, black pepper coming through on the finish. Nice, very balanced across the palate, very smooth, very integrated. It has great, there's actually some depth to this. I get the licorice underneath quite a bit. This is an easy to drink Grenache, it really is. So I get like a mixture of red and black plum, a little bit of strawberry, and blackberries coming through on this one. Like I said, good balance. Not super complex, but it's very good. This is a really, really delicious wine. I think anybody would enjoy this. And what I like about it is that licorice comes through, and then just a touch of tobacco on the back side. Yeah, nice effort. Really like the spiciness. This really holds true to what Grenache does, and I think that in Washington State, Grenache does really well, and this is proof of that. Here's a $15 wine that Rich makes to just put on your table and enjoy with food. This will go good. We're having pork spare ribs tonight. I think this would go really well with that. That spiciness lends itself well to any sort of peppered steak. It doesn't have a lot of tannins, but yet it has a good guts to it. I'm going to go straight up BB plus with this wine. I like it. For the money especially, it is a good value. One thing I have to fight in this shop that I have is those wispy little spiders that like to sneak in and build these cobwebs, you know. So I'm constantly coming in here with my vac and trying to clean it all up, but it's still like this spot. Let's move on. So San Juan Vineyards was bought about, well, almost 2 years ago by Mike and Lori Corliss, who own Corliss Cellars, of course, and Tranche and Secret Squirrel Wines. He brought a lot of experience to the winery, and he loves to work farming. Both of them love farming a lot. They've done a lot of work out of the winery. I think I mentioned that before. And so they make these wines now. This is the 2017 San Juan Vineyards Syrah Walla Walla Valley. So he's sourcing this fruit from Walla Walla Valley. It runs in at $29. So I'm very excited to try this. They now have a rosé. They do the Zigreba and Madeleine Angevine out of the winery. That's what they grow there. They're actually planting some sort of vineyard. I haven't confirmed what that is yet. And they also are now doing they call it a Cattle Point Red Blend. And now the Syrah and a rosé. And I've sold a ton of the rosé. But he makes these wines over at his facility over in Walla Walla. Then he hauls them over here to sell here with the San Juan Vineyards label. You say, well, that's not fair. Well, Yvonne got her grapes from over there in Eastern Washington because you can't grow Syrah in the west side of the Cascades. You can't grow Grenache on the west side. You can't grow anything. Some people do Pinot Noir. I haven't tasted one that was really good yet. I mean, Mount Baker Vineyards used to do one. He's out of business now, but he used to do one. He had a perfect spot for Pinot Noir. I don't know if that's what Mike and Lori are planting there. Adam is their vineyard manager. Well, I'll have to ask Adam. But anyway, so now he's sourcing. He has great sources of fruit over there. He owns a lot of vineyards. So I'm very curious to see what we get on this one. Let's see what we get on the nose. Yeah, get a little charred bacon fat, like loads of boysenberry, a little bit of touch of vanilla. That would come from the oak. Getting hints of tobacco. A little bit of blueberry coming through. I'm excited about this. This is very powerful, very typical Washington State Syrah nose. Good structure. Tannins have a little bit of a grip on the finish. Very interesting. Get a little bit of that bacon fat underneath. A little bit of tobacco. I get that kind of boysenberry, blueberry, maybe even a little bit of black raspberry coming through. And that vanilla is very restrained, very slight. You may not even detect it, but I get just a touch of vanilla on the backside. Solid Syrah. And I'm really hoping to see Syrah gain popularity again. It's kind of faltered a little bit. I think I've mentioned stylistically, I think they're so different that people are afraid to buy it. They don't know what they're going to get necessarily. But this is very classic Washington State Syrah. I like it a lot. Kind of that little bit of a tarry, kind of toasty element to it. Like I said, good structure, good balance. A little bit of acidity in the background. What I like about this wine I hope I showed you the label. I'm sure I did. $29. It will age. I guarantee you this will age easily 10 years. Easily. That is classic. I'm glad to see the resources that Mike and Lori are able to bring to San Juan Vineyards. It's nice that they're bringing back Syrah. I really like that. We'll see what else they bring back in the future. I'm very excited for what they're doing. They're doing a great job. Saviah Cellars is, they're a very high-end wine, so $29 for a product coming from Michael Corliss is considered a value. And I do think it's a value. I think it's a very classic Syrah. A little bit of a dark cherry notes coming through as well. Good complexity, nice structure, good balance, nice symmetry, you could say. A very nice bottle of wine. And I gain nothing by saying that, honestly. I'm gonna go A minus, A on that. I think it's a very solid Syrah. Very solid. I like the acidity. I like the fact that you could tuck this away in your cellar easily. Don't even worry about it for at least 6 years. Pull it out. I think you're going to be rewarded greatly by doing that. Well, I hope you're enjoying these programs. Thanks for subscribing. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. I'm getting more and more subscribers. Very excited about that. Thank you very much. I hope you're enjoying these. You keep watching, and I'll keep helping you spend your wine dollars wisely.